now with the digital era, everything is going by digitalization. So if we want to have a trade among ourselves, we need digitalization. For the trade that we are talking about, we need digital platforms to e-commerce. We need mobile money, which is about digital financial inclusion and digital payment system. We need e-government systems. So the whole issue is really how we are transforming Africa and deepening the value chains, which means that if we have a value chain, we need to transform the whole continent from being exporting raw materials to end products, so made in COMESA, made in Africa product. And this will not happen except with access to technology, to scientific research and technology, and to see how we have industrial policies, industrial designs. So the whole issue of digitalization now is a must and concrete for our real transformation. And saying that as Africa Business Council president and as a founder of COMESA Business Council, again in the COMESA Business Council we have a program for digital payment, which is again have to have interoperability. Like if we want to trade from one country to the other in COMESA, we need to have interoperability. We need to see how we are able to, a small trader in one part of COMESA can be able to trade with other part of COMESA. And again, we need to empower our people to be digitally IT savvy, because now, for instance, even with the farmers, digital technology is very important. And the COMESA Business Forum was about this and about digitalization, to see how in the horticulture and with the agriculture, agribusiness, how digitalization is very important. You can make a survey about the whole harvesting process. You can make digitalization for the whole value addition for the agricultural products. So I believe it is I call it we need also the policies that will help and enable the investment climate for the digitalization era. And we need the technical also, and we need to see how we have digital literacy for all our people of the continent. So in the whole thing under Africa Business Council, we have a triad, we call it the triad of empowerment, that speaks about 3 pillars. The first pillar is private sector strengthening, including SMEs, women and youth. And this is actually by, as I mentioned, digital literacy, how we empower our SMEs, our women and youth, to be able to use digitalization and to give them information, awareness. And even with the ACFTA, that digital protocol, digital trade protocol, is very important also to know about it. And the second pillar is about policy advocacy. How can we have policies that support the digitalization with e-government, with financial inclusion, with digital payments, how we make incentives for investment in the digitalization. And the third pillar really is about partnership and product development. How we are able to have product development of the African raw materials into the value chain, because the whole theme is about deepening the regional value chain. How among us here in the COMESA to use this digitalization to have, for instance, our agro-industrial parks, economic zones, how we are able to have the raw materials that is transformed, whether they are minerals, they are agriculture products. We need to do also a mapping exercise. This also is about the whole digitalization era, mapping exercise of what is existing resources on the continent, what are the technology needed for transforming this product into an end product, how we are linking science technology with the industrialization agenda. So the whole issue really with digitalization and inclusive and sustainable growth, it depends on how we as Africans, how we are in COMESA, putting our minds together and to see how we are able to transform Africa. Africa is the richest continent in the world, but how we transform it instead of exporting raw materials by industrialization, value addition and beneficiation of our own raw materials to be productive, increasing our productivity. Inclusive growth, it has to lead to prosperity. It has to have an impact on the daily life of our people of the country, including SMEs, women and youth. I mean, the majority of our economy is backbone is SMEs. how we are able to support them. One of the things that Africa Business Council we're pushing to have policies is to have at least 40% of government procurement goes to African private sector, including SMEs, women and youth. So it's time that during the government procurement, we need to empower our own people to have inclusive growth. I mean, even here in Kenya, when I was chair of COMESA Business Council, we lobbied to have at least 30% of government procurement goes to SMEs, women and youth, and it's implemented here in Kenya. It goes to SMEs, women, youth, and people with disabilities. So it's time that we have this government procurement, push for it, to have an inclusive growth, to realize prosperity, not only eradicating poverty. Regional integration very important, but also about the whole continent. How we already in COMESA we have already may have the simplified trade regime. We have all our rules of origin. How we are able to have this with all the continent, with the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, to trade under the ACFTA. So it's very important to make awareness at ACFTA and about the trades. Trade-guided trade initiative, and to have awareness for our African private sector to make sure that ACFTA has a meaning to our people